horrible, whatever, and think, oh my God, disgusting. My God, they're probably homeless. Get away from me. That's gross. I don't want to associate with them. That's one person's way of looking at it. My way of looking at it is I don't judge them in the fact that they're homeless and think that, oh, they're homeless, therefore they don't work, they don't have a job, they need to get a job, go to McDonald's, get a job, whatever. I don't think that way. That's judgment. To me, what I see is someone needs my help, possibly, or someone who may need a leg up or a handout. And so I would go to them and say, can I help you? Mm-hmm.
Here's my point in that. All right? That same person that we're talking about that walks in with raggedy clothes, smells to hell and, to hell and back, you think immediately, ooh, they need my help. That's judgment right there, and I'll give you a point in case. Is I had a client come in with a dog, and, oh, my gosh, he drove like a truck that looked like it was about to break down. He couldn't believe the truck was still running. He wore clothes that were falling off of him. He smelled to high heaven. His dog stunk, kind of.
And he was a millionaire or something.
Had a bath in a year, and when it came down to it, the man had astronomical amounts of money.
Right. Yeah.
And it was amazing, So there's the judgment there, too, with, oh, he doesn't have much money. Oh, he might need help. When really he didn't.
But that's not the point.
So there's still judgment.
That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is not that people don't judge. I said that people do judge, and I do, too. People make judgments.
Right.
About people through the perception they have in their brain. Of course, yes, I agree with that. What I'm saying is the difference is how you choose to act on that, whether you're judging them in a negative light or a positive one, or judging them in the sense that, oh, this person is a horrible human being because of how they look, or they're lesser than I am. That's what I mean by judgment in that sense.
Exactly.
So yes, of course,
and
everybody judges.
That's what I wanted to define is that, everybody judges. It's not bad to judge. It's just in the way that you do judge.
Yeah, but also I said earlier in the show, when I see someone, I don't know if you heard that part yet, but when I see someone, I don't see race. And that's the truth. And it's very difficult for people to believe that, but it's the absolute truth. And only people who have an issue with that, with race, or see people's race as an indicator of who they are, have a hard time believing me when I say that. Because if you are a truly open-minded individual, then you do not have a problem seeing someone and seeing them as a being first and then their race third, fourth, fifth, sixth, last. So do you think
you would
people
agree
that way or not?
Somebody who's had a lot of negative racism towards them would probably be a little bit biased, even as hard as they try. And I speak in experience. Okay, I grew up, yes, in the South, and people, when they hear, oh, you grew up in the South, you must be racist, it's completely the opposite, as a matter of fact. I mean, I grew up with a mother who taught me everybody's equal, to the point that if I ever even spoke anything out of my mouth that seemed any kind of derogatory towards somebody else, I was immediately corrected. I mean, my mother is no jokes, everybody's equal, and that's what I was taught. And when all 4 years of my elementary school, I was the only white person in my class. Now, all of the children that were in my class with me were great. They were my friends. It was every other child outside of my class, and outside of my class, I would be pushed down, spit on, beat up by kids I never even knew, and the whole time, all they would scream at me is, you stupid white girl.
Yep.
And so I was completely targeted and picked on only because I was white, but that's not something that you really hear in society, and especially seeing how I live in Alabama. Alabama's not known for being racist against whites. But it's very, unless you live where I live, you really don't understand the grasp of the racism towards white people, because I've had a lot of good black friends. I'm really not racist.
But I have to interject again. I have to say something. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. There's racism from everyone, black, white, Hispanic, right. Asian. Everybody is racist to some degree in those communities sometimes. So that's understandable. So racism works ways, absolutely. I don't debate that. But the thing is, I'm not saying you're saying this, but I just want to make sure and clarify that you as a white person experienced racism because you were the minority and a majority of black people, correct?
I'm sorry, say that question again.
You experienced prejudice and racism because you were a minority in a majority of black people, right?
Exactly.
When you were a kid.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Right.
So typically when you have a majority, whatever race it is, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, and you have someone different, whatever they are, different by race, but different by sexual orientation, different by because they're handicapped or something, whatever the case is, people will tend to pick on them, especially if you're kids. So it is definitely not abnormal. Although it may be abnormal, you're saying for where you're from, when you have that kind of thing, like for example, if you went over to China and you were the only white person there, people will probably not treat you that great. So, so I'm saying it depends. The situation, it depends on what the situation is, that you're in. So,
but what I wanted to say also is is even though I was treated like that, I mean, throughout my high school years, I pretty much only hung out with, mainly like after school. I was the only white person, and I chose to hang out with those people. It didn't really, the people that I dealt with in elementary school did not affect what my mother had taught me. And that bad people are bad, but good people are good. And you don't look at them as their color, you look at them as who they are.
Exactly.
And so because of what my mom taught me, it never affected me to the point of as me becoming a racist,
Right, that's good. And I never said you were racist. But I don't think
no, I know. I just wanted to make that point because I told that to somebody else, actually a black individual, and he said, and then he concluded that I was racist from that. And I was like, okay, this conversation's over because I'm not.
Well, I think it's difficult for some people. The other thing about that is if you are a minority, when I say minority, I mean non-Caucasian. Although in about 10 years, Caucasians will be a minority in this country. Just got to point that out. Even if you are a minority, a racial minority in this country, it is very difficult. And you can chime in here too if you want, Life. It is somewhat difficult to not have a chip on your shoulder to some degree. You have to really work at it, not having a chip on your shoulder, because
you're right.
You are berated every day, not just by people you meet and whatever, but by society, by media, whatever, telling you you're less than, you're not as good, blah, blah, blah. And so I understand that guy you were talking to, the black person you were talking to, whatever, probably has a chip on his shoulder and thinks every white person is racist because he's had bad experiences with white people. But that's not true of all white people. Do you want to say something about that, Life? Are you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What did you say again? I'm sorry. I didn't really. I was listening, but I was hearing what she was saying to a point. I agree what she was saying because I wanted to go at what she was saying. I'm sorry. But
no, I was just saying. I was saying that do you agree that that a lot of minorities, black, white, black, Hispanic, Asian, whatever, have a chip on their shoulder sometimes and think everybody is racist?
And you know something, I agree with this. I agree with that because I think everyone say that to get this getaway free card. Like, oh, you're a racist. If the cops stop you, it's a thing, oh, you're racist because I was robbing and I'm black. That's why you stopped me. And it is so, everyone use that card all the time. And it irks, and it really, I'm sorry to say irks, but it really annoys me all the time when people say it. I've heard so many people say it, white, Puerto Rican, any race, even any race. And I get it's so annoying because it's not about your race. It's just about sometimes you in general as a person.
I'm so glad you brought up the police officers. My husband is actually a police officer, and he's had the race, people complaining on him for, oh, he's racist so many times it's unreal. However, his precinct, that he works in is like 98% black people. So, of course, if he pulls somebody over or arrests somebody, they're most likely, not always, but most likely going to be black because that's the community that he works in. And they all the time try to say, oh, you're racist because you just did this because I'm black. But, and thankfully, his supervisors are black. Our chief of police is black. So they know my husband's not racist. If he was, he wouldn't be there. But it's amazing to me how many times people try to play the race card.
I agree with you because I used to live in Philadelphia, and they have a law. They're trying to stop it, but it's a law called stop and frisk. So if you look kind of fishy or anything, the cops see you look kind of fishy or anything, they stop you and frisk you. And one night I was walking, then coming from the club, I like to walk. I'm a big walker. So I was walking from my house to the club, and the cop seen me. And he stopped me, asked what I was doing and where I was going. I didn't get upset, and I said, oh, I'm going home, officer. And I felt like he was doing his job. But with someone else, they would have been, oh, you stopped me because I'm black? No.
Right.
I just want to know you're safe. And just think about that. And I think people that snap out or really annoyed, they're closed-minded. They don't look at the bigger picture. And it's not because of...
I have to say something about that, though. That although it is often the case where people will say, some people say, black people, white people, whatever, say, well, you're racist, blah, 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 blah. It is sometimes true that people do get stopped because of their race. It is sometimes true that people do get treated differently because of their race. And so it's not like it comes out of nowhere. It's just some people use it to the extreme. Like it's like every single thing is about race. It's really not.
I would like your opinion on something. Our chief of police, like I said, he's black. Our mayor's black. You know, a lot of our head people here in Mobile, Alabama, are black. Got no problem with that. I like our very, very tip of the southern Mobile, Alabama. Yeah,
Dirty South.
Hurricane Alley.
they have a lot of history. Mobile have a lot of southern history. And
I know.
We are actually within the top 10 highest crime rate in the country.
Wow.
You are?
Our crime rate is off the chain, okay? It is amazing. The shootings, killings, the rapes, the robberies, it's daily here. It's amazing. You would think that we were,
out.
you know.
Get the hell out of there.
Well, actually, a lot of my friends have left because of it, because this is no longer a safe place for your children, so far as they say.
Only why I'm saying that because I'm amazed, but I'm not, but I am, because it's the South, and a lot of people are moving from the North to the South. So I always say a lot of crime rate is really because a lot of people from the North is coming back. And I say,
hey, you know what? I like that. Those damn Yankees.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but sometimes they have kids and their kids bring back what they was taught in the North. They think they are better than some people, so they come back with their mentality. Well, I'm from the North, I'm from here, and then they bring their mentality and things they come back to, and then violence starts to come. That's what I think. I mean,
my question is to get what you think about this. Okay, our chief of police here, and let me tell you, we're the second largest county in the state, so we've got a humongous police force. So our chief is over a whole lot of officers. Well, and he's black guy. I love him to death. He's come in and he has set an example for police officers. He stays in shape. He backs up his officers. You know, I really don't have a problem with him at all. I like him. And he actually was on the news, on the local news one night, telling everybody, because, you know, it's a big ordeal. You know, police officers shouldn't profile. If your car is a certain way, if you've got the big bling-bling rims, whatever, you know, you can't get pulled over just because of that. That's profiling. The actual chief of police came on the news one night and told everybody, my officers will be profiling. And parents, if your children's rims cost more than the actual vehicle, then you're part of the problem. And just what he said on the news that night, like, my jaw dropped. Because no white person ever could get away with that. But what he was speaking was really the truth. And it didn't have to do with race, because what he was talking about, white people and black people do here all the time. It's not just black people, you know. And so when he said that, my jaw dropped.
I don't think that was a negative thing to say. And the reason I don't think it was a negative thing to say is because, yeah, it is profiling. And whether it's a black person or an Hispanic person or Asian or whatever, there are different I mean, I'm just saying this because it's the truth. There are different cultural variants that people kind of impart upon their cars or upon their dress or whatever that can clue somebody into meaning some certain thing. So, for example, if it's an African American who has the rims and whatever you were talking about on their car, and they're going through a really bad neighborhood where they have a lot of people there who have that kind of car who've done a lot of crimes or whatever, then I think it's fine. But if they're just doing it because they're black and it's